let me just tell you a little bit about me, and then turn you to some of the archetypal images that we're going to meet in this story, and I hope in your reflections on yourself. So I'll try to be very brief about this. When I was a young pup, young Jungian psychologist and professor, I was, this was in the early 70s, I was doing research. I decided that what I wanted to do, young men don't really have any grandiose ambitions. What I wanted to do was to carry forward Jung's work and complete his mapping of the collective unconscious. That's all I wanted to do. So I've proceeded to get on with my research and to begin trying to work on different archetypes, to try to understand in a deeper way how these deep structures, what we call deep structures in the psyche, what they are and how they relate to each other. And so I did a lot of field research and research on people that I was working with clinically, and so along about in the mid to late 80s, I really stumbled on the discovery about these structures and how they are related to each other that really surprised me. And it was a discovery about the way in which the archetypal foundations in the female soul and in the male soul, how they're alike and how they are different in the way they are organized. And one of the most celebrated scientific discoveries that is accepted widely is that if you're going to be murdered in the world, it's likely to be by someone young and male. And when I discovered this particular way in which these archetypal structures are organized in the psyche, and realized the way in which the masculine psyche was organized, it became clear to me that I had made a discovery which made a lot of sense theoretically about what we have observed about the asymmetry, the difference between the challenges of being a young woman and being a young male, and the difference between the challenges of being a midlife man and a midlife woman. And so I was struck by this, and I had really never started out to be a psychologist of the masculine at all. And to this day, I'm trying to do a complete psychology of the human self. But when I saw what I had discovered, it became clear to me that I had to try to do some work presenting to men on the structure that I had discovered between these archetypes: king, warrior, magician, and lover. And so I began to lecture and began to write about these archetypes that are the key building elements of the male psyche. And Robert Bly heard some of these lectures in the late 80s and invited me to come over and to teach with him. And he and I became fast friends, and that early work of mine became part of the materials he used to write the book Iron John, which you may have heard of. One other personal note about me, I was pretty self-satisfied at 45 years old as a fully tenured professor, and I had a good practice going. And one year, my wife and I, it was 1987, we took a trip around the world. And she and I we were in Bombay, and we turned down this one street, and the cab driver said to us, on this street, there are 10,000 women and children, and you can buy any of them that you want and do with them as you will. And I thought I had misheard him, so I asked him again, What did you say, sir? And then he repeated what he had said to me. And later on, and some years later, there was an article done about this particular street in Bombay, what is now known as Mumbai, about the most notorious center of prostitution in the world. Well, at that point, the size of the evil I was witnessing and the size of my complacency as a man, my self-satisfaction, complacency as a man, came into such stark contrast that I almost had a psychotic break. Because when I went back and I would be sitting in faculty meetings, and I was listening to the drivel that was being talked about, I was just in shock about the disconnect between what's actually going on in the world. And I might add, after what Micah said, a lot of this evil I was observing was imagined by, organized by, fueled by uninitiated men.